Go. Hi, everybody. So glad to see so many of you joining us today. There are so many schools in here. It's great that you're all able to come and join us today. As you know, it's Climate Action Week, so this is a week of learning all about climate change. And today, we're going to have two stories. First, I'm going to read you a story, and then our special guest, Minnie Gray, is going to read us her beautiful story, The Last Wolf. Okay, so let's get started with our first story. I hope you're all sitting comfortably, and we'll begin. What is climate change? That's the name of our first story. I can measure our weather, and I can see that our usual weather is changing. The weather is changing all over the world. This is called climate change. Air pollution causes climate change. Pollution makes the earth warmer like a greenhouse. Climate change can hurt places that I care about, but I can help. There are things I can do at home and at school. Some vehicles make pollution, but I can take the bus or bicycle instead of the car sometimes. Wasting electricity can make pollution, but I can turn things off when I don't need them. Some waste makes pollution, but I can make sure rubbish goes in the right bin. I can help the environment at home and at school. And one of the ways you can help at home and at school is by carrying out a litter pick, because litter hurts animals and is bad for our environment. So cleaning it up is a very easy thing to do to help. So we're hoping that your school or nursery will be able to go outside this week and do a little litter pick for us, and you can show us what you find. The next thing that you can do is make some art. This is called craftivism. It's a big word, but it basically means crafty activism and is all about a gentle way of saying you care about the environment by mixing arts and crafts with talking about environmental issues that you care about. So we're going to ask you to make a poster of your favorite Scottish animal that is affected by climate change. So here you can see puffins, which I love, but there's many other Scottish animals too. And if you can see that this picture is made of little bits of paper that an artist named Paul Bartlett has put together. So he's reused little scraps of waste paper and he's made these pictures. And your poster should say a message on it of what you think should be done about climate change. So we've sent your teachers information about how to do this, and I hope that you will show us your posters when you finish them. And the next thing you can do is you can take our pledge to become a climate action school and to ask leaders all over the world to take action on climate change, because there's a big meeting coming up in November called COP27, where they'll be discussing what they should do about climate change. And we want your messages to go to them and let them know what you think. So if you take our pledge, and we'll send your teachers information about that too, then you can tell them what you think should be done. And now it's time for our second story. And I'm so excited to introduce our special guest today, Minnie Gray, who's an author and illustrator, who is going to read for us today her beautiful story called The Last Wolf. So I hope you enjoy. And we would like to especially thank the Scottish Book Trust and Scottish Friendly for helping us to have Minnie Gray here today to read to you. Welcome, Minnie.
Hi there. Hi, Kat. Am I on? Oh, here we go. Am
There
I
you
on
go.
screen now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So it's fantastic to be able to zoom in and meet you all. So many schools have joined here, and thanks to Scottish Book Trust and also to Keep Scotland Beautiful for having me here today. So I'm talking to you from Oxford, and this is the room I work in. And I make picture books. And when I make picture books, I make the words, but I also make the pictures. And so you need both the words and the pictures to tell the whole story. And today I'm going to tell you about this book, The Last Wolf. So sometimes when I'm making stories, I start off thinking about nursery rhyme and fairy tale characters that I already know. And when I was making this story, I started off thinking about a fairy tale character, someone who dresses in red and goes into the woods to take goodies to Granny. I wonder if you can guess who it is. Yes, it was Little Red Riding Hood. And I thought, well, what if Little Red, instead of wanting to take goodies to Granny, what if Little Red wanted to catch a wolf? And then I thought, well, she wouldn't be able to in Britain today because we haven't got any wolves left in the wild anymore at all. The last wolf was probably seen around 1680, over 300 years ago, probably in Scotland. And we haven't got any wolves left, really, because people cut down the trees that were the woods, that were their habitat, the place they lived, and also because people hunted them. And because we're an island, wolves can't come from other places in the world and repopulate our country. But if you make picture books, you can make anything you want happen. So I thought, what if my picture book, in my story, what if there was one wolf left? And what if that wolf was living in a tree? Maybe the wolf was living in a tree with a door in it, and behind the door there was a cozy tree cave where the wolf was living. Maybe the wolf wasn't alone. Maybe with the wolf there were some more animals. I thought maybe there was the last lynx. So a lynx is kind of wildcat animal, and we used to have lynxes in the wild in Britain hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but we don't anymore. And as well as the lynx, there was the last bear, and we did used to have bears in the wild in Britain as well, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but we don't anymore. So here's the story of the last wolf. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to start off the story. Here we go. Hopefully this is working. The last wolf wanted a wolf. If you see one, tell Red. Here's a wolf. There we go. So one day, Little Red put on her hunting hat and boots, flung her pop gun on her back, packed up her lunchbox with some supplies, and said to her mum, "I'm off to catch a wolf." Well, that's all right, thinks Red's mum to herself. Last wolf round here was seen hundreds of years ago. Good luck, Red, she said, and don't be late for tea. Well, Red goes a stalking through the forest. She lurks behind a tree and jumps out on... Do you think it's a wolf? Oh, a bin bag. She slithers through the bracken and pounces on... Does that look like a wolf? Oh, a tree stump. Red wanders deeper into the forest. It gets shadowy and she loses her path. There's whooling noises and grabby twigs, and Red starts to run. She runs and trips. But what's this? Some kind of door? She tries the doorknob and knocks and bangs, and the door's opened by the last wolf in the land. The last wolf's living in a cosy tree cave along with the last lynx and the last bear. And next to the last bear, there's a basket. And inside the basket, can you see what there is? They might crop up later. There's some acorns and some oak leaves. "You must be a human child," said the last wolf. "I've never seen one up close before. Come in and sit down. You're just in time for some tea." "I didn't know wolves drank tea," said Red. "There may be quite a few things you don't know," said the last wolf. They gave Red a cup of tea and told her about the good old days. The good old days when there was endless miles of forest to run through and 1,000 tasty grazing beasts to bite. Can you see the last wolf's treehouse in the picture there? Somewhere near the middle. The good old days when the world was awash with flowers and bees and dripping with honey. The good old days when you could just lie on a tree branch and wait for lunch to wander right under your paws. Nowadays, catching a square meal's a difficult business. They're having to forage in bins. The pickings are slim and the packaging's hard to get into. They looked longingly at Little Red. My, what huge hungry eyes you all have, she said. And out of her lunchbox, she took a hard-boiled egg, a sausage roll, a chicken sandwich, and an apple. It's not very fast on its feet, this egg, said the wolf. It's quite easy to catch this sausage roll, said the bear. And the last lynx chased the chicken sandwich round and round the cave until it was wounded. And Red ate the apple and wondered how she could help. But it had grown late. It's getting dark, said Red, and I need to go. My mum will be starting to miss me. And she thought of the shadowy wild wood that was waiting outside. I think, said the last wolf, we'd better walk with you until you find your path. So Little Red and the last wolf and the last bear and the last lynx wound their way back through the last woods that were left. And if you look in the picture here, maybe you can spot the last wolf's treehouse in there, in the last woods. And maybe you can spot the wolf and the bear and the lynx and Red wandering their way back. And maybe you can spot Red's house with a light on where her mum's waiting for her. Until they reached the very last tree and saw the lights of Red's home and her mum missing her. Don't forget your lunchbox, said the last bear. Goodbye, you wild things, said Red. I think I know what you need. But they'd already gone. After dinner, Red's mum found a sign on Red's bedroom door. Wanted. More trees, please. If you see some, tell Red. Well, we better make some, said Red's mum. All you need is a seed, some earth, sun, air, water, and, for a really wonderful tree, about 100 years. Do you remember those acorns and oak leaves that were next to the bear in the basket in the tree cave? I think they've found their way into the lunchbox now. One day these trees will be amazing. Maybe here. Red's trees have grown up. Go, more trees, please. And here's a really big old tree that must be hundreds of years old. At this point, I need to stop sharing my screen, I think. There we go. Hopefully I'm not sharing my screen anymore. All okay? And
All fine.
all fine? Okay, fantastic. So to make a tree, like Red's mum said, you need a seed and sun, air, and we're going to talk a little bit later about growing your own tree seed. But I was thinking a bit about what do trees give to us? Because trees, especially big old trees, give us so much. God, I'm just moving my board in here because I made a branch. Go there. Hopefully you can see that. It's about the things that trees give to us. Because the tree is like a big tree can be a home for lots and lots of different animals, mammals, and birds and insects. And so I've got some of the things. So have a think to yourself now. What things do trees give to us? A little think. And I've been thinking too, I put them on leaves. So I was thinking round about now, it's autumn and trees are changing and it makes our whole landscape a different colour with the different coloured leaves that there are. So colour can be one of the things that trees give to us. And that shows the changing seasons to us in our landscape. And trees have many coloured, many layered canopies of leaves that animals can live in. And if you're an animal living in a tree gives you a hole to call home. If you're a bird, it would give you a place for a nest. So trees give lots of us shelter. And if you're a child, trees will give you somewhere to play. And for loads of us, if you find a delicious apple, trees give you food, but also lots of food for lots of different animals as well. And in summer, a tree will give you wonderful shade to shelter from the sun under. So trees can make, especially in the city, can bring you cool air. So that's lots of the things that trees give to us. And when I was making the last wolf story, I thought I'm going to try and grow my own trees. So I went down to the woods and I picked up lots and lots of acorns like this. And then I put them into pots with soil, and it was autumn, and I put them outside my back door. There were about 30 of them. And I covered them in a piece of board to cover them. And then winter came, and I knew that maybe they would get cold in winter, and then in spring they'd start to grow. But that winter it snowed, and so my board was all covered with snow. And so I shook off the board and I left it off my pot of acorns. And the next day I came back, and every single pot had been dug out, and the soil was missing, and the acorns had all gone. Now, there's some animals that come to my garden. There's Boris the cat, and there's Horace the hedgehog, and there's also Fatty the squirrel. And I don't know who it was that dug my acorns out, but I have my suspicions. Anyway, when I got to the last pot had an acorn still in it, and that acorn had a root sprouting out of it. So I went and I found a bigger pot. I put my acorn in it, and then I left it alone. I put some covers on it to sort of some netting on it to protect it from squirrels, and I went away, and I forgot about it until the spring came. And in spring, there was lots of little wild plants there, and I was clearing it out, thinking maybe I'll plant something else there. And then I found a little seedling growing. It was like this, and it had those wibbly shaped leaves that oak trees have. So I thought maybe that is my acorn growing. So I made it some space, and it grew bigger. There it is, a little bit bigger. And then it grew even bigger. There it is, a lot bigger. And now it's about that high. And it's in a much, much bigger pot, and it's growing into a little tree. And I think I actually need to go and find somewhere to plant it so it can grow into a much bigger tree. So you might want to grow your own tree. And now in autumn, it's a really great time to go collecting autumn leaves, and also collecting tree seeds, and then maybe growing them and seeing what you can grow. And I got a pot here I could grow a tree seed in. I thought, well, maybe it'd be fun to decorate a pot if you're going to grow a tree seed in a pot. So here I've made some leaves to decorate my pot, because I've got some leaves that came off my oak sapling at home, and you can see how they're just starting to turn colour, and you can see the veins in the leaves are sort of picked out in a different colour there. So leaves are looking really beautiful this time of year. And when I was making the last wolf, I made leaves. Some of them are on the back of the picture, leaves like this that I cut out and used in my pictures. But they're also fun to cut out and use when you're wrapping up presents or making cards for people. So leaves can be a good decoration. So this is how I make leaves to decorate things with. Okay, so I have got some paper, and I start off with drawing myself some leaf shapes. So I'm going to just move my camera so that it's a bit nearer my drawing board, which I'm going to use this as a drawing board. So put that over there, and I'm going to move my camera over to here. We go over here, so hopefully you can see that there. Maybe make the camera go a little bit higher. We are. Okay, so here I've got some paper, and I've been doing some leaves on my paper. And you can, if you want to make lots of leaves, you can cut yourself out a template and then draw around it to make your leaf shape. Just drawing around one there. in a green pencil that's not really going to show very well. Never mind. Now I've drawn my leaf shapes, I'm going to colour them with, I'm going to use yellowy colours, so some quite light colours. So here I'm painting on some yellow on my leaf shape. It doesn't really matter about being very careful with that. So now the next bit is to really leave your leaves to your painted leaves to get really dry. So here I've got some dried ones there that have dried, and you don't have to do your leaves in like woodly oak leaf shapes. You can do more simple leaf shapes if you want to. And now I'm going to I collect biros that have run out of ink, and they're really, really useful for pressing with. So I'm going to press into my leaf to make the veins that are down the middle and in going through the leaf. There's these veins that go through and bring water and things to the leaf. So there we go. I'm pressing in, but you can't see that because it's invisible at the moment, just the pressing. Now to make the autumn colour on my leaf, I've got some coloured pencils, colours like orange and red and green to colour onto my leaf. So here I am, I've got my leaf and I'm pressing, I can press on here, I'm pressing in to put colour on my leaf. And where I pressed in to make those veins, it stayed yellow because it's pressed in. So you can see the veins kind of showing up there, hopefully. I've got some over here that I just finished colouring here. And the last bit of making your leaves is to cut around them so that you've got your leaves there. I'm going to just put my camera back over here for now. Go. My leaves cut out, another one cut out. Got a leaf collection, and then you can either use them for decorating anything, but if you decorate your pot, you could use wood glue. It's quite good and strong to glue your leaves on your pot for a decorated pot. Used to growing your tree. And I think there'll be some instructions for finding tree seeds and growing trees on being shared by a book trust from the Woodland Trust. And so that's the thing you can make. So I hope you've enjoyed the story of the Last Wolf. I hope you get a chance to really enjoy autumn and the colours of autumn and going out maybe collecting different coloured leaves and collecting seeds from trees. And remember, more trees, please. So that's from me. So bye, everybody. It's been great talking to you.
That was amazing, Minnie. Thank you so much. What a beautiful story, and what a great message of something that we can all do to help wildlife. I know I have some acorns here. I don't know if you can see them. All the lovely colors. They're all browns and greens and yellows, just like your leaves. And so I will definitely be planting some of these, and hopefully we can have some oak trees to plant somewhere to help the wildlife. And there are, like you're right, there are instructions on how to find tree seeds, what they look like, because it helps to know what you're looking for, and how to make a good place for them to grow in your pot. So if you go foraging for tree seeds and decide to plant a tree, please show us. Make sure that you put your pot somewhere away from hungry squirrels so that you get some trees at the end of it. But thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I have just a couple things to show you before we go. Thank you, Minnie. I do love that story. So I hope that you're able to watch this recording again if you want to see the story. I know some people were having some technical problems, but we have recorded this, so you'll be able to watch again later. Please do send us your photos. Maybe you have a photo of you watching the story today and you'd like to say hello to Minnie, or maybe you would like to show us pictures of your seeds. Please do send those pictures to us, and you can see our social media address there too. Thank you everyone so much for taking time out of your busy days today to have story time with us. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye, everyone.